You should tell me, eh?
Yes, I'm starting the broadcast.
No problem. Tell me.
Right. Hello, guys. How are you? Hello, boys and girls. This is Alejandro Castillo broadcasting live from Mexico City, the largest city in the world. Today, Saturday, July 18th of 2020. This is episode 76, and today we have a very, very special guest, a long-time advocate for volleyball, beach volleyball, now snow volleyball, and we are connected with him from Mexico to Lausanne, Switzerland. How are you, Angelo? Angelo Squeo. Nice to meet you.
I'm very well, thank you. I would like to say hello to everybody's following this transmission. And Alejandro, you did a good job with all the interviews you made, 75. Congratulations for this idea, especially you interview people that made the sport happening. So continue like that. And it's very interesting project.
Thanks a lot, Angelo. Yes, I have here a lot of personalities talking about beach volleyball, in a discipline you are very, very involved. 3 weeks ago, Sinjin Smith and Randy Sotos were here, and they explained us very, very well all the process that made, or they helped that beach volleyball can become an Olympic sport. That was a great, great story.
You know, I have a big respect for these two players, because you need to know, maybe there's already expressed this history and communicated it, but they were heroes in AVP, in the American AVP, famous because was the only one having a strong brand for beach volleyball at the time. And because they had the vision for the Olympic Games, they left the AVP, they left the $1 million they were making with prize money, they left all this big career because they were winning, they were dominating the scene there with 150 events. Very difficult to win. They won to go for the Olympic dream. And thanks to them, we can say they contributed to reach the 5 rings recognition in Atlanta 96 after a long job of lobbying, promotion, and they went sanctioned. Because they were sanctioned, they were menaced not to go back again in the United States to play beach volleyball. And they went ahead, even if they had this handicap and this problem with AVP. So these two persons really made the sport going to the Olympic Games, as well as the FIVB, because the FIVB had the vision to transform a sport that was sort of sport for leisure at the time, just played in California, in other states in the United States, and played in Brazil in a world sport. And I am very proud to say that at the Olympic Games, since Atlanta, this sport is getting the most audience possible, the sold out with ticketing, and is getting the attraction of the entire world. So very nice to see that this sport, lifestyle, entertainment combined together became a big, powerful brand for the sport worldwide.
That's great. Yeah, they told us about that all that job, that lobbying, but especially the showcase they made in Spain for
In
Barcelona
Almeria,
Games.
Almeria,
Almeria,
92.
South. 92, yeah, 92.
Was a demonstration there, a sort of, we can say, demonstration test event, although was not officially in the program of the Olympic Games of Barcelona in 92 in Spain, but still the federation, the international federation, wanted to show how beautiful was the sport, the value of the sport that could be played by players from all over the world, not only American and Brazilian, and was a success. But also I need to remember another episode, very important in the successful history of beach volleyball. That was the World Championship in 1993 in Rio de Janeiro. In Copacabana Beach, in front of the Palace Hotel, this white, fantastic 5-star hotel, was even created a bridge to allow on the beach all the IOC members, the president of IOC, Mr. Samaranch, that came, the president of the organizing committee of Atlanta 96. They all came curious to see if it was a real sport or was just a recreational sport. And it was amazing because in Brazil, volleyball is very, very well established, as you know, and beach volleyball also. And when they saw that people was sleeping in the night to get their place in this stadium of 10,000, they were cheering, they were singing, they were dancing samba to get their seat for the next day. They were impressed. And when they saw also the game, they were more impressed, all these people that came from the Olympic movement. And they saw American playing against Brazilian, Norwegian, Italian. They saw Japanese, they saw many countries, French, Spanish. It was a kermesse for beach volleyball. And then after this big event that was very, very successful in Brazil, the IOC voted for beach volleyball against other 6 sports. It was not easy, the decision. While the event was in February in Brazil, the decision was in September in Monte Carlo, and was going very tight, the votation. And then there is an episode where a legend, Mr. Samaranch, the president, stopped the session for a coffee break. And then maybe he influenced some people to vote for beach volleyball, because there was a very good relationship between the International Volleyball Federation and the International Olympic Committee with Mr. Samaranch. So Mr. Samaranch, I have to say, as well as the Mexican president, Ruben Acosta, and his wife, Malu Acosta, were instrumental in order to push with Sinjin and Stoklos and other players the sport in the Olympic movement.
You were there in that historical moment?
I was a promoter, by the way. I was organizing the World Tour in Italy that was in the beginning. The first World Tour I organized was in Italy, then there was Japan, and was Brazil in 89, imagine, 1989. And I had the vision to do it in Italy. It was very well received by audiences, sponsors, this Austin City. And then in 93, I was still a promoter organizing events in Italy, beach volleyball, but other type of events also. And I was responsible for a club in Italy for volleyball indoor. And in 94, Ruben Acosta called me to hire me in Lausanne at the International Federation to create from zero the department for beach volleyball, because there was nothing. When I arrived, there were some letters to respond, no rules of the game, no official ball, no guidelines, no handbook. So it was from scratch. It was interesting to shape, everything with ideas, and there was no limit to the fantasy, frankly speaking. So in 94, when I went, the first thing I did was a letter to the organizing committee of Atlanta to say, we don't want to go in Savannah, because the Olympic was destined in a place 5 hours from Atlanta on the beach, because the idea was to play always on the beach. But then the vision changed all of a sudden and say, nobody would come in that place. It's far away. No media, no journalists, no spectators. It's far from the first city close. So we had the idea to go in Atlanta Beach, that is 20 minutes from Omni Center in downtown, was with an artificial lake, with artificial sand. Everything was artificial, but it looks like in TV we were on the beach. And then we had a lot of people coming from the city, from all Georgia, from all United States, tourists. It was a big success. So I prepared the ground for this change when I arrived, and also to prepare the Olympic qualification, the rules of the game, starting from really scratch. And then we went in the Olympics. And I have to say, many people thought that was a failure, because they thought this young sport, people, women playing in bikini, music, DJ, what is this? I mean, it's not serious, they thought. But I have to say to you, 9 months before the Olympics was sold out. Number one, because in the United States, beach volleyball is very famous.
Yes,
they like beach volleyball. It was born in the United States, the sport. Number two, because we were bringing something new in the Olympic movement. You know, the Olympic movement was a little bit too classic, too redundant, and then we shock everybody with the dancer, music, a very good announcer that became a star in the movie business was Porlock, that made a movie to speak about McDonald's and all the problem that can cause McDonald's if you eat a lot. No? Became really a star, and was the announcer at the time, very young, very talented for beach volleyball. We had also a bad episode with a bomb, but I remember that morning there were 10,000 people that, in spite of the bomb that caused 2 casualties, was a bad thing for the Olympic movement. I remember they wanted to see beach volleyball. They were queuing, and then we opened the gate, but we didn't have the order to do that, imagine, and we started the game. Because otherwise we didn't know, frankly speaking, if we had to go ahead or not in that morning, because the Olympic Games was at risk. People were saying that we had to stop for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe stop the Olympics because the bomb, no, the terroristic attack happened in the Omni Center in Atlanta. Maybe young people doesn't remember, but it was a critical moment that I remember. But we overcome also that critical moment.
Yeah, there was a movie premiere last year, I think, or early this year of that.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but
Yeah.
it was really a moment in which the entire Olympic Games were, in that moment, were shaking. But because I feel the athletes wanted to go ahead, the spectator wanted to go ahead, there was an impulse from outside, made the Olympics go up to the end, and with a good spirit also.
Great. Angelo, we have a message from our mutual friend, Miguel Angel Ramirez, Miguelito.
Ciao, Miguel. He has been one of the best international referee, Miguel.
5-time Olympian.
5 times Olympians. I don't know who can say the same. And he has been always very humble. He has been always very helpful. I have to say congratulations, because he was and it is still a good example for young referees. And without referees, there is no game. And he always been very fair on the field of play, but outside also.
Well, Miguelito says, greetings, Alex. A big hug for a great leader and promoter for beach volleyball in the world. My admiration, and also is my friend.
Thank you. Vice versa also to him.
He sent me some photos of you and him here in Mexico, Angelo.
Yeah, I know. He took care about me for 3-4 days when I came to Mexico City, because we knew a promoter that wanted to do something in the big Zocalo square, which is amazing. Even Formula One went there. I remember archery. They did a lot of things in Zocalo. And we wanted to go with beach volleyball. For me, it was a great idea. I went to Mexico. And Miguel tried to organize, also helping the federation meetings, and taking care about me for 3 interesting days. And it was a great experience, I have to say. The event didn't happen, unfortunately, because people changed in the city, so they prefer to do other events. But we were very close to do an event in Zocalo Square every year. Yeah.
That could be great. How many courts in Zocalo? 20, 30?
No, but for a World Tour, usually we have 4 competition courts are enough, plus 2 warm up, and then 1 center court with 3,000-4,000 seats capacity. But if a promoter wants to do more, he can do more, no problem. But we don't want to have big venue without spectators, so we try to have venue that are well conceived for beach volleyball, and they are always full with good ambience. Especially, this is very important, that everything is compact, on the court. People has a good view, and they feel the vibration of the voice, of the music, everything, and listen the voice of the players also. That's a good communication.
How many years ago did you try this?
That's a good story. We thought that entertainment and beach volleyball could not be separated. Was a chemistry. And we had criticism, like I was saying, for Atlanta, We had criticism in Athens, 2004, in Sydney sometimes, because we were putting volume up, pump it up, like you say, the young generation. We were putting the new hit in the parade, and we were even dancing and making people dancing on the bleachers, not only looking at the dancer, men and women dancer. I'm not saying only women dancer, like cheerleaders. And we made the venue really a nuclear bomb, and this created a lot of history before. But when we saw the reaction of people that were going happy out at home after one day, this was the most important thing for us. We were not listening to the criticism of the people that is too much conservative about the sport. But when people had an experience, a fun experience with their kids, their family, in a safe environment, we enjoy also to think about new idea for entertainment and beach volleyball. And this is our challenge, continuing to find new ideas that can appeal the spectators, to make them feeling good watching a match and participating to a match, not only watching.
Yes, well, that's one of the most amazing things I appreciate about beach volleyball, and a lot of those things can be replicated in indoor. For example, I have spent almost the most 3 recent years doing things like DJ in some events. I was working as a DJ last year in the Pan Am Cup in Colima, Mexico. It was a huge event, 4,000 people in the gold medal match, and all people's doing a monster block and super spike and ace eight. That was great. Then I attended last year 2 beach volleyball events, college events, and it was great, because as you are saying, you can match the entertainment and the sports part. They are not separated. They come together, and I really enjoy that. I'm really enjoying that developing projects, so we can get more people into the stadiums, into the bleachers, and it was very very amazing for me. I learned a lot from DJ Rusche from the United States, who will be here on Wednesday, from Toby Rudy from Germany also. So I think we, the people of volleyball, we are the responsibles to make grow the game, and everyone in their club, in their university, in their little city or big city. You don't need. I think by for start the greatest arena or the greatest sound system. You have to start. You have to start doing things, and people start to saying, "Hey, instead going to movies, let's go to volleyball, beach volleyball, because there's a good show. They have music, they have good players, a good place, and
You're
it's
right.
a good environment."
I agree with you. What I learned is not never to take away from the sport part, but adding value, not to mix and overcome music or dancers or entertainment over the game when the rally is going on. When we have a lot of breaks in volleyball, no, in beach volleyball, when there is a breaks, we can go with a complementary action, music, entertainment, and this become very rich program at the end of the day and at the end of each session. In my point of view, this is the basic. Never take away from the sport. And you know that also I have a president that is Brazilian. He's Ari Graça, Dr. Ari Graça. And he has a very, very good 2 people helping him with the General Director Fabio Azevedo and Fernando Lima from Brazil. And all of them believe in the sport presentation, in an entertainment. So we went even beyond the normal entertainment, and we involved professional. That is very important, because there is a chemistry with rhythm, with music, with the look of the game, with technology to be implemented. Is not just something that comes from accidental mix of elements. No, it's something really well studied. So because we have also this Brazilian blood, was easier also to have them supporting a new entertainment. And this is very important. I mean, they believe in beach volleyball.
Yes, of course. Angelo, we will return with your beginnings. I just want to be clear that you were for a long time the FIVB Beach Volleyball Director, and now you are the new events director. How different is this? Are you still involved in beach volleyball or more involved in things like or projects like snow volleyball?
So in October '94, I was hired, to become a beach volleyball director. Since then, after 23 years, I've been always involved in finding promoter, operational matters, creating a calendar, and many other things. But it was too much because we had many properties. So what we decided 3 years ago with my president, Dr. Ari Grassa, was to create another department where I deal with calendar, with promoters, trying to find new promoters, having as many events as possible in the calendar all over the world at different level, because we have different category of international events, and to continue to have a beach volleyball department dealing with the operation, with the logistic, with the ranking, with the guidelines, etc. So I deal with the part of the calendar in this new events department, and beach volleyball department deal with what is happening after we bring the event on board. This is my role now, using my network, using my experience, my public relations skills, we can say my language skills also, in order to attract new forces to the sport. And this is a very delicate task, I can tell you, because there is a business, but also psychological aspect, like in this period of depression, because everybody's concerned about the virus, the money, the budget, and it's not easy. So we need to have some approach with everybody different in each country in order to involve them in the system.
All right, perfect, Angelo. And now, please, if you can tell us something about your beginnings in volleyball. How did you get involved in volleyball? I know that you also play for national team in Italy. How was your transition to be a player? Then I don't know if you played beach volleyball, and then your current activities.
I try to be short because it's a long story. I try to condensate 25 years of story there. But just to start, I was not an athlete. I was a student, 15 years old. And one day my cousin told me, come with me because this the final game of playoff for clubs in Italy. I didn't know anything about volleyball, about anything about players, what the game was and the rules. But when I entered in this stadium, it was a 5,000, 6,000 stadium with so much ambience and the game, I fall in love. Frankly speaking, it was like a flash, boom. You must do it, Angelo. And I had only 15 years old. I was with no muscles. I could run maybe 100 meters and die on the street there. And then what I did was a strange thing. Impressed me so much. I called the coach of one of these teams that was from Rome, and to have his number was not easy. It's not like today, digit something that come up. And then I asked this coach, can I be involved in volleyball? And he asked me, how tall are you? And I said, 196 centimeter. And at the time, I speak in the 70s, I was a giant. The real giant went to basketball. We had the people that was not so tall at the time, but was very technical now in Italy. And he told me, yes, come, you can train and let's have a selection. And then he took, I don't know why, because I was not really good in I didn't know barely the rules. And this coach took care until I arrived to play in the first team, in the first league, because foreign athletes from the United States got injury. Unfortunately, made a death loop, and he went on 2 mattresses with the head, and then he broke the 5th, 6th cervical, and he was on the wheelchair for the entire life. So there was no other solution than push a young guy from the young team up to the first league. and then playing with the champion that I was watching in TV, you know, because for me, I was around in the training. I said, but it's real. This is a dream coming true, because I could not imagine from one day to another to make this jump. I had only 17 years old. And then we won the championship. Amazing. I did not do so much, maybe because there were 5 champions around me, but I was in the court still helping a little bit. And then I went in the national team for 200 times. I played in many clubs in Italy where volleyball is relevant. And in the end of my career, exactly, this is one of the picture in Rome playing against a team in Turin. I am on the right, number 14. And you see the block is not bad at the time even. It was tall. It was a good team, this Turin. So in 75, 76, when I was still a young player, with a coach and player, Marco Sollustri, from Rome, we made a trip to visit this guy that had this injury that I was saying in the United States, in California. It was a hero. So we went to visit this, still for us a hero, and he welcomed us. And he told one day, drive my car, because he could not drive, and I bring you something amazing, to watch something amazing. After a trip coast to coast from Florida to California, 1 month, imagine, hijacking, we were dead. We went still this weekend in Manhattan Beach, and we saw another flashing image, no, after the volleyball one, with the 10,000 drinking beers, watching a beauty contest, and then there was the tournament also with 128 teams, double elimination, where there was Sinjin and Karch Kirail that you interviewed, that won the tournament, and they were stars. They were literary stars. And still today, people stop them in the street to get an autograph from them. So when I saw this, I said, why not to bring this success also in other beaches in Europe? And then I started to organize also beach volleyball events, but during my last part of the career, because I had more time, more contact with sponsors that helped me. This is me that I play, because we didn't have so many players playing beach volleyball. So I had to organize, but also to play at the same time. It was challenging, I have to say. I am on the left there. I think the ball went on the other side.
I think it bounced in the net.
And the guy that is blocking is the same guy I made this trip from coast to coast the United States, 4,000 kilometers, hijacking for 1 month and a half, and where we discovered.
But that travel was intended to attend the Manhattan Beach Open in California?
No, was intended to visit this guy that was on the wheelchair, and that's all. We wanted to do this trip to make a holiday, make some vacation, but also to go 1 week to visit him and give some comfort. And this guy told, I need to bring you to a tournament, and it was the Manhattan Beach Open. With no bleachers, no stadium, just the guy speaking, announcing, and you could see the players far away playing, because these 10,000 people were a lot of people around with their can of beer, with the refrigerator, on the sand, with the ice. They were well organized, but everybody was spontaneously going, free entrance. And they were the champion that we admire in volleyball, in beach volleyball, like Sinjin, Karch Kirail, Dodd, Mike Dodd, Tim Hovland, many, Pat Power.
Ron Von Hagen, Pat Powers.
Bravo, exactly. So you know very well. And this was another moment important in my career, because for me I was saying, if they succeed in California, this can succeed in Mexico or in Argentina or in Italy. And then I started, especially in Europe, to organize, but also we organized an event in Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta. Was
Angelo.
National Federation making sport international.
Yeah, I lost you. I lost you for a second. Sorry. There you are. Okay.
No, I was saying we were promoting the sport of beach volleyball before the International Federation had the vision even to go for
Angelo,
beach volleyball. At all, I can tell you.
Hey, this is a picture of the Manhattan Beach, vintage.
This is the picture. You can see the pier up above there. People was there like in the sky boxes.
Yes.
And then on the bottom, people was around the court, and to limit the court, there was just a rope. You see, there is just the space for the court, no panels for publicity. Who was winning the tournament was winning just a box of Coca-Cola or sometimes beer, Miller beer. Was no money involved, no television involved, but there was playing spontaneously and enjoying. Maybe I am there somewhere. By the way, one year I even played one of these events thinking that was easy because I was coming from the top ranked athletes in Italy for indoor. So I went there to say, we will for sure win easily. I didn't even qualify. And this taught me that was a completely different sport. 2 against 2 has nothing to do with 6 against 6. Apart, there is the sun, the wind, the sand where you moving is not easy. But there are 3, 4, 5. We were playing 5 matches a day. And each match was very difficult. So we could not even qualify with this Marco Solustri 1 year after we discovered the sport. For volleyball indoor. So just to let you know how we were in the phase of discovering, and to discover beach volleyball. And I have to say,
Angelo, I think I'm losing you.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, right now, yes.
Yeah. Now, I was saying it was not easy for volleyball athletes to make a transition during summer playing beach because some they didn't want them to play because they could get injury during a beach volleyball tournament. So the start was not easy at all. And also sponsor were not really take this too much seriously until they saw that people like it in TV or radio. At the time, there was no digital, world, and was mainly TV that made the difference. So when television came, made a big difference, and sponsors started to come and supporting beach volleyball. At least what happened in Europe.
Okay, let me show one more picture of you.
This picture is from 1986. I was the captain of Bologna club. They won the championship in Italy. And was the moment I was starting to organize also beach volleyball events in Italy. And this was not easy because my coach was not happy to see me spending a lot of time during summer instead to rest or recover from injury. But we could win, and this is another picture when I was in the FIVB just hired. Maybe it's 95, something like that in Florida, in Miami. We had a tournament organized, and was difficult to have AVP players because they didn't want to participate because they didn't want to give their contribution towards the Olympic movement. There was a big fight with AVP in the beginning, and Samaranch put together a good deal. We had to give 2 vacancies per gender to the AVP. 1 remained to us for Atlanta. And these two vacancies from AVP came from their AVP tour. So otherwise it was difficult to have the AVP players in Atlanta.
The AVP was a qualifier at that time.
AVP could qualify through separate events than ours. So we had our events for the rest of the world and one American team per gender. Sinjin qualify through this system, Sinjin and Enkel in Atlanta, Carl Enkel. Okay. Then we had other two teams per gender coming from the AVP system. This was a compromise to put these two organizations together because there was not a good chemistry between us. Because obviously AVP was jealous, what they are doing without us in the Olympic Games, and the FIVB wanted also to have the power, a jurisdiction to manage beach volleyball and not leave a private company to do it in the United States. We were thinking to expand in 200 countries, beach volleyball, not in the United States only. And this was a key factor for us.
Yeah, and that was kind of difficult, I can assume, and started the battle, as you are saying, between AVP and FIVB. It was hard at the beginning.
Was very hard, I have to say to you, was like a Cold War. Although we were in a small pound, a small fish in a small pound, because I mean there are sports like NBA, basketball, American football, baseball, much bigger than ours, or soccer. But still, there was a big heritage from the United States coming, and the FIVB took over at a certain point to put the sport at another level. But this heritage from USA didn't want to have the International Federation to take over.
Yeah, probably the AVP told, hey, who are you guys to come here to tell me how to do this? The sport I invented.
You are right. They thought to have invented sort of the sport, to have a strong brand, and that we were coming through like a rocket, you know. And then this created some issue. But then because
I'm sorry, Angelo, and the Brazilian part, what did the Brazilians in this battle?
Brazilians were fundamental to be on our side. There was Nutzman, at the time president of Beach Volleyball Council, was say my boss at the time when I arrived with the FIVB, direct boss. Then there was Ruben Acosta. But Nutzman believed in beach volleyball, he invested a lot in beach volleyball. And there was a company in Brazil called Coctalares. There was a promoter that organized motocross, many events for tennis, ITP tennis events. And they also married with beach volleyball. So Brazilians were fundamental. Without Brazil, as I told before, without this World Championship every year to show only to say this was an Olympic sport and deserved to be the Olympic sport with medals. So also Ari Grass.
Angelo, I think I lost you.
The American with C.G. Smith and Stoklos, and then Blanton and others. I mean, Rego was an hero for Brazil, but also for the rest of the world, was an example of champion, was talented, was gifted. So thanks to Emmanuel, thanks to Ricardo, many other players. I mean, the list is long. As you know, Brazil is #1 for medals in beach volleyball and volleyball. Thanks to that, Brazil pushed beach volleyball forward. And I need to say they show the spectacularity of the game because they were professional. They were dedicated to the sport all the day. And they became heroes.
Angelo, how different was, the picture we saw a few minutes ago, Manhattan Beach in the United States, how different was that beach volleyball compared to Brazilian volleyball at that time, Brazilian beach volleyball?
Yes, was completely different. Manhattan was, I would say, 10 years before Manhattan Beach, Hermosa, Beach, many beaches in California. They didn't use technology. They didn't use television. They didn't use the bleachers, the tribune. And they had a way to promote the event that was pretty spontaneous. But 10 years after, comparing Brazil on the same time of United States with AVP, AVP made a big step forward. Brazilian also, and there was a sort of competition between organizers. Each one was sort of studying what they were doing and getting the best. So I have to say AVP was relevant also, what they were doing. That's why the brand in United States, when you say AVP, is strong, because
Angelo, I think I lost you.
AVP very strongly with Donald San. It's we are together. We are organized. They did also event 2 years ago in Arlington Beach. Was an excellent event in California. A World Tour event, 4-star, as you know, men and women. So we are working together. We have projects to do things together in the United States with them.
I think that event in Huntington Beach was the first organized joint with AVP and FIVB, right?
There is another one, and it was in 1997. Was a miracle, I have to say, because there was a World Championship organizing Los Angeles.
UCLA, right?
UCLA. You know the story, Alejandro.
Yes.
And we put together people that was not really the same chemistry. For instance, AVP with the International Federation, NBC, and Nike Entertainment. All these four joint venture, and was a phenomenal event. It was organized by Leonard Armato at the time, was in AVP. We did the special competition format, like sort of AVP against the rest of the world, but was okay. I mean, it was well received by the other players. And then we organized this event inland. It was not easy at the time to think about inland event, because the idea was to go always on the beach. Beach was beach volleyball, could not be shared, and it is not true. Beach volleyball can be organized like we saw, even in inland facility. And we were in UCLA, where they play the tennis events, you know, in a wonderful venue. There was 4 against 4 also, 2 against 2 we play together in separate courts, but still in the same venue. And I remember star of Hollywood coming to enjoy the entertainment, the VIP, the hospitality. It was really a great event, I have to say. So there was another event before that Arlington event with AVP.
In Huntington Beach, in that event 2 years ago, Miguelito was the referee delegate, I think. He went over there.
I don't remember, but most likely yes, because it was an event where we needed the best official for sure.
Yes, of course. And the relationship between AVP and FIVB has been evolved for a better way.
Yeah, no, now we don't have any problem at all with them. I would say since Sydney 2000, the situation improved. In Athens 2004, we didn't have any problem. So even for the Olympic qualification, they accepted to have a fair Olympic qualification without doing this special path, from AVP tournament. Everybody had to go to the events, qualify through Olympic points. And any events could count, not having special treatment like was the first time we had to reach a compromise in Atlanta. So now we see a good future with them. And we hope to have more promoters like them, because they are very professional, very good. They know how to deal with digital media, with the entertainment, with the promotion. They do beautiful venues, and they treat athletes with big respect. So this is very important.
Okay, but I think that in the last year and a half, there haven't been a major series event in the US, right?
Yes, correct. In Fort Lauderdale, in Florida, we had for 3 edition an event that was sort of incorporated within the World Tour. So Red Bull, with the promoter in Austria, joined venture to create a special brand within the World Tour called Measure
Series.
But was still a World Tour, giving points, giving prize money, Olympic qualification, and so on and so on. But this event had to represent the excellency.
It's like the Grand Slam.
Sponsorship, we had, yes, 3-4 events in a year, but no more than that. And now they are also suffering the crisis, the recession. So they have Vienna, Hamburg, maybe, but we are trying to see if this event will remain or not. And Stad will 5-star without measure, just World Tour 5-star in Stad. And they are struggling. Many promote to find the money to organize events and to put the money in prize money, in accommodation, in this.
Your screen is freezing, Angelo. I can't hear you. Hello? Are you there?
Yeah.
No, it's freezing a little your screen. Guys, we are talking with Angelo Squeo, the FIVB new events director. I think we are back. We are back, right, Angelo?
Yes, I hope so. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well, but your few seconds ago, your sound was gone and your video was gone. I can see you right now.
The internet line maybe is becoming too busy now with too many people attached. And
maybe.
it's maybe local here in Switzerland, the problem.
Yeah, so you were telling us about the major series. Probably there will be no more major in that format.
They are struggling to have this measure again for next year, but they have not declared to organize still these events. And if they do it will be 2 events, one in Vienna in Austria and one in Hamburg in Germany. So we will see. We will continue with a 5-star category because we have, like in the hotel, 5 different level of categories to accommodate the needs in many countries in the world. Because before we had Grand Slam and Open, but they were very expensive events. And certain countries could not afford to organize, while we wanted to incorporate more countries. So what we did was to create 5 different categories, where number 1 category is like a pension, no? Is a level of a pension. 5-star is excellent hotel. The same is for us. The requirements depend by the star. And an hotel 5-star can cost up to $3 million, but 1 star can cost $60,000, $80,000. So you can go in Africa to organize, you can go in certain country in Latin America, you can go in country in Asia, in Southeast Asia, or in Oceania, that before was impossible. But still all the events are part of the same brand. We give points to the athletes participating, ranking points, prize money, different prize money, obviously, from 1 to 5-star, and different condition for media. This is, the stadium is much smaller. For 1-star can be 500 seats, 5-star can be 3,500, 4,000 seats. So everything is proportionate. And this is the idea that we had, and we are still going on, and it seems working well. Apart the World Championship that we have every 2 years, and we had the last one, 2019 in Hamburg, in a tennis facility of 11,000 seats, was a big success. Was with the removable roof in case of rain, was in the night also, day and night, and with the best athletes in the world. Exactly, this one is a self-explanatory picture. This is a center court, but outside this center court, there were other 4 courts And there was also a village for sponsor that was huge. People who can enjoy a lot of experiences, climbing, playing with the champion, and so on and so on. There was a swimming pool. It was amazing. It was a great event. And you see on top, there is a roof.
Yes, the
There is
removable roof.
that was coming up just in case of rain over spectators and player, because the weather in north of Germany is not always very good, unfortunately.
And
But
I think,
this,
Angelo, that at least the last three World Championships of beach volleyball were great events in Netherlands, then in Vienna, in the middle of the river, then in Hamburg. Great, great events.
you are right. You are right. And I love also to mention, like you were saying, the Netherlands, because when we sat down with the promoter years before in the Netherlands, we were saying we want to do something special. How to do something special after 25 years of doing the same events, more or less. No? So we started to think to do a country event, not a city event, with all the country involved, like for soccer, football, now where they have 8 cities, then they go for the final in one city. We had the pools, and in each pool, in each city, we had 4 cities. Of this city, of 4 cities, we had the men and women Netherlands team. And also there was the center court in, do you hear me?
Yes,
Alejandro?
I can hear you. I can hear you very well.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Angelo, I'm here.
Hello?
Yes, hello, I'm here, Angelo. Can you hear me? No, your screen got frozen a little. Angelo?
We were not lucky with the line. Yes.
Okay, I'm here.
No, I was saying that for this World Championship in the Netherlands, apart that it was a country event, not a city event, because we involved several important cities, but also the look of the game was according to the flag of the Netherlands, to the classic color is orange. We had orange all over, in the venue, outside the venue, in the village was very important. The players from the Dutch team were playing with the orange color. Was a nice, different type of events, and was very successful, very, very successful.
And yeah, I remember there were, I think it was in Rotterdam, that you are playing the court, and in the back you can see a transatlantic, a ship.
A cruise ship was done also inauguration, serving from the ship to the court, from a player.
Wow.
It was interesting. And then in Amsterdam was done in the most important square, in Dam Square. In The Hague was done in front of the Parliament, the center court. It was a lake. It was put a platform on the lake, and over the platform there was the stadium.
Wow.
And all the stadium was covered where there were spectators, because it was raining. In the Netherlands, it's raining a lot during the summer. And then in order to preserve the spectators for the ticket they bought, the promoter put a roof like on the VIP is usually put. This is Hamburg.
Let me go first with Vienna. Vienna was amazing.
Vienna was also amazing. You see these 2 ships there, where all the rooms for officials, for players, for media were from these 2 ships that were usually going on the river. And then the venue was vast, was very big. On the right, there was a sponsor village. On the left was there were some courts, and was always full. There were 3 sessions a day, and each session was full of people, and the stadium was 10,000 spectators. After you see
the stadium was built in an island.
was built in an island on a river.
Yes,
Yes, exactly.
the Rhine River,
This is a big river. Then there is the
the Danube, the
Danubes,
Danubio.
yes, one of the biggest river in the world, and in Europe for sure. And in the middle there is the islands.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the center court, amazing. On the left there are 1,500 VIP that bought a ticket, very expensive. In dollars, I can say around $1,600 for 3 days, catering, food, drink, having a seat, a party in the night was a package, And people was coming from all over Europe, yes. This is again Vienna.
Yes.
Beautiful. You see people participating, like we're saying, constantly participating.
I have a video to show, Angelo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Of Vienna. Is a promo, is a trailer. I think it's great. It's very exciting.
Yeah, go ahead.
For 10 days, Vienna will be the world capital for beach volleyball. Between July 28th and August 6th, 2017, the Austrian capital will host the 11th FIVB Beach Volleyball World Championships. The Danube Island offers the ideal location to host the group matches and all the finals, as well as the perfect environment for the main program and the side events. The best 48 men's and women's teams in the world will compete for the title. 192 athletes from around 40 countries. $1 million in prize money. 208 matches in 10 days. More than 500 national and international journalists. Worldwide TV coverage by host broadcaster ORF, in cooperation with Red Bull Media House, will provide comprehensive reports on all electronic media. For the several 100,000 visitors, the Danube Island, which has already proven itself as a fantastic event venue, will be fit to crown the newest world champions. The center court, the stadium with a capacity of around 10,000 fans. The covered VIP stand will host 2,200 guests. The directly connected VIP area will act as a B2B platform. With a surface area of approximately 1,200 square meters, the outdoor terrace overlooks the new Danube. And when night falls on Vienna, the party continues. Chilly sundowner evenings and live music acts in the event area with international DJs. After this summer's highlight on the Copacabana and the associated media hype, the 2017 World Championships are the next major beach volleyball event, with the world taking a closer look at Vienna.
Pretty exciting the video,
Very
and
exciting.
it reflects all the fun and the excitement and the professionalism of beach volleyball. Do you agree?
Right. I have to say that I have to give the credit to this promoter in Austria. Is called Hannes Jagerhofer, that many years ago had the vision to do this type of events with a lot of glamour, a lot of VIP. You saw the catering was like Formula One, Do & Co Formula One. Maybe he's in Mexico for Formula One when the pilots come. I mean, everything had to be top class. And this promoter had a very, very good vision. Unfortunately now, with the economical crisis, this type of events are not easy to be sustainable, anymore. So that's the problem. But the good of the World Championship is that we try to maintain the interest between the two Olympic Games through the World Championship in the middle. Because after the Olympic Games, there is always a curve down of interest, because the Olympics obviously is very strong. This is Rio de Janeiro and Copacabana Beach. It was an amazing,
amazing venue.
Yeah, every time full of people and a lot of enthusiasm, lots of ambience. Was really a great game, and also what Brazil won the Olympic gold medal, so with the men. So this was very helpful for the event itself. You see here, this is still Rio de Janeiro, the center court. It's 3 sessions a day, always full of people, and the tickets were sold out already long time before. It was not easy to have tickets during the games. I have to say, they try some to get it, but was one of the most difficult ticket to get. That is a good sign, no, for the sport. On the right, you see here,
I'm sorry.
No problem, though, no problem. It was good because on the right, there were also skyboxes here, where there were sponsors also of the Olympics, but also technology like Swiss timing and other. And then the stadium was amazing because it was very close to the court. You could see, even if you were up above there, you could see very well what was going on the court. And this is very important to create compact venue where people can enjoy, can feel the vibration of the game and of the entertainment. And the entertainment now, after we spoke a lot about it, is a normal standard procedure and offer in the Olympic Games for many sports. While in the beginning, when we started, it was like a sort of shocking program. Now it's called sport presentation, and all sports, more or less all sports, are adopting sport presentation in order to entertain the spectators.
And well, very close. It was installed in Copacabana Beach, a historical place for beach volleyball.
Yeah, this is a stadium that took more than 1 month to build it up and less than 1 month to dismantle, and was done after having studied many situations about the waves. You see the ocean on the right side, but when there are thunderstorms, this means waves that can attack the stadium under the bleacher and can create a big problem. So this is a story that only a few people knows, but I want to say tonight. 6 months before the Olympics, we have been called by the organizing committee in Rio de Janeiro to say you cannot have Copacabana anymore. After we spoke 8 years about Copacabana, 7 years. And then we flew, me and Fabio Azevedo, the general director, to Rio de Janeiro to negotiate, to say what is happening here? What the hell is happening? Why you want to change? Then they showed to us a study that if there was a thunderstorm outside the ocean, we had to interrupt the Olympic Games for beach volleyball because the water could not be, even with a wall of sand, could not be stopped. And the proposal was to go in Flamengo. That is another beach where it's not nice. Nobody has played beach volleyball there for many years. There was no tradition, and was not easy to arrive or parking and have transportation. So we decided to take the risk, and we remain in Rio de Janeiro in Copacabana because that was the core and the paradise for beach volleyball for us. So we took some risk. We created some big pillar to maintain the stadium in case of the water was going underneath. Big pillar of cement. This you could not see in the picture, but I can tell you there were like 8-10 pillars to maintain the stadium stable. And then also we created on the right side, you see here, there were only 6-7 meters of sand before going in the ocean. Created of at least 2 meters of sacks of sand in order to not allow the waves to go inside. But this was we were lucky because if we had a big thunderstorm, even with that wall, the water would have gone underneath and created a problem even in the center court with water that could end. So, but you know, it's the story in the Olympics. Sometimes you have to take some risk, and was too strong Copacabana brand with any other beach to change it at the last minute then 6 months before.
Angelo, I have read that beach volleyball in Rio was the largest venue, not the largest venue, the sport that welcomed more fans, right? It was just in Rio or in the prior Olympics?
Prior Olympic also, but in Rio, there was a calculation that volleyball and beach volleyball together made #1 audience in the world among all sports, considering the number of days of the event, considering the number of matches, etc. Volleyball audience with beach volleyball complementary made the #1 TV audiences. And also digital, we had very good digital numbers. In the previous Olympics, always we had a sold out with ticketing, except Athens. I have to say in Athens was difficult to have sold out with ticketing because in the morning, people of Athens were outside the city. They went in holiday during August, so we didn't count on the citizen of Athens. But in the evening, afternoon was always full the stadium. And TV was always, we were always on TV and on a major broadcaster of the Olympics, like NBC, Rede Globo, Televisa in Mexico. And they wanted even to broadcast the match, they were not with the team of the country. For instance, in Brazil, at a certain point, they were getting the signal for other Olympic Games, like it could be Sydney or London 2012, but also for matches where there was non-involved Brazilian. There was, I don't know, Norway against Italy. It's strange, but it's not happening in so many other sports that broadcasters are interested to broadcast matches with no host country team. And in beach is happening. So this is a good signal and that people love the sport regardless who is playing. They want to see good games, spectacular rally, and they want to see the ambience. That's very good.
Oh, that's great news. Do you remember that the Mexican team went to Rio, Juan Virgen and Lombardo Tiveros, the Pan Am champions in Toronto?
Yes. You have had the good tradition of Mexican team in general from the very beginning, because I remember you had a men and women team in Atlanta '96.
In Atlanta, yeah, there were a team of females in Atlanta.
Exactly. And there is another story also, because on certain point there was a dispute because the Mexican Olympic Committee thought that they had to qualify through a different system, etc. So we allowed more teams for the women that was allowed. We had 24 for men, 16 for women, 18 for women, to allow this Mexican women team to enter. So there is a story there, but it was interesting. Sometimes it's always good to accommodate and find the solutions, rather than think about problems. And this was a good solution at the end. Everybody liked it. And Mexican team, I can remember even when we played in Acapulco, the World Tour, and also the last event in Doha, that the team for men reached the silver medalist. But in Acapulco, I remember there was Laura Almaral with her partner getting a 5th place against monsters like the American, the Brazilian. You have had always good, talented players. The only point maybe is the consistency that lacked, and eventually to create a plan for this national team to grow when they are young till the senior age. This is lacking maybe to make a medal in the Olympics. And you have all the card to win a medal in Mexico for sure.
Yeah, you told me before we went live that we have a lot of potential because we have a lot of beaches. We are 130 million Mexicans, so I think we can have a very, very good couple to play beach volleyball.
Yes, absolutely. Not because I'm speaking now to you, Mexican, and to Mexican audience, but I'm sure we are listened by many others. But I am convinced that Mexico is one of the most ideal country to host event for beach volleyball and to develop beach volleyball. If you think how many thousands of courts there are in California and how many hundred thousands of people play spontaneously, you can do the same in Mexico with your big resource. And you can play 12 months a year. We are now thinking to come in Mexico with a World Tour in November, but it can be April. can be June, and the weather is always good. So you have so many opportunities. In Europe, for instance, we have, if you see here in Switzerland, in September it's raining, it's already cold. You cannot play, although there are many courts, many inland courts. In Italy, you can play until September, October. You cannot play anymore. You have 3-4 months to play in certain countries, even less. So in Mexico, you have a lot of Acapulco. We went several years ago. The people love volleyball like you love football. And I saw a queue. I remember a queue during Easter in Acapulco. There was 2-3 kilometers outside the venue for beach volleyball for the World Tour in Acapulco to departure, and they stayed diligently to enter in the stadium. 3 kilometers of queue. I never seen that. Was the entire bay sort of waiting with the queue to enter in the stadium beach volleyball. It was full, was packed. And then I remember one thing interesting. There was a match between American and Brazilian final in Acapulco. And that match was 2-1, one of the longest match ever in the history. And Televisa cut the news to give the space to see the match completely, to watch, to make the people watching the game until the end. Cutting the news at 7 o'clock in the evening was something amazing. And the match lasted 90 minutes, 90 minutes.
Yes, Miguelito is telling me about that. He says, if you remember that game in Acapulco, USA versus Brazil, in the second set with the score 40-42. Yeah, it's the same match, right? Angelo.
So you have a country ready to go, and you need a plan. You need people working hard for it. And I hope we can come in Acapulco, in Cancun, in Yucatan, in November, where 18-22 November, we have a 4-star World Tour event, men and women. But we need to see if the players can travel. But the government of Quintana Roo wants to do it. The promoter, Moveo Lab, wants to do it. The Mexican Federation wants to do it. So maybe a way to restart after this long period that we canceled many events since March 2020 because the virus. And then this will be a good way to restart and think to 2021, where we are building the new calendar now with as many events as possible. But still, we have not signed agreement because the promoter need to first gather the money, the funding, and this will take time in the current circumstances.
But when will FIVB decide about the Cancun 4-star in November?
Next week.
Next week.
Next week. We receive a letter from Quintana Roo government, and they want to do it with certain circumstances, like no spectators, no, just one hotel for everybody, or athletes, officials, coaches, and also to follow strictly the rules, anti-COVID rules, social distance, washing hands, etc., etc., etc. What we always respect all over the world, but they want to be very strict on that. With this condition, they think they want to do it. They can do. They have the money to do it, and the capacity from the promoter is an excellent promoter, Moveo Lab. I have to say, they did amazing event, really, and they are young, talented. They want to do always better their event. So I think my concern is about the traveling of the players, because this is a world event, and we need to allow players from all over the world to come to Cancun, and we need to assess if this is possible. If it's not possible, we can still organize the event, but not giving the Olympic points, because each event of the World Tour until Tokyo 2021 next year will give points to qualify the best 24 men and 24 women teams in Tokyo. And Cancun will be one of them. But if all the players can be allowed to travel there, that's the point.
Yeah, well, we hope news from you next week to know about the November event in Mexico. We're very excited about that. We're expecting that event, but we know that it not only depends on Angelo or FIVB or Quintana Roo. It depends on a lot of things.
Exactly, you're right. But we want to restart at a certain point, and in our calendar now in September and August, there are some 1 and 2 star World Tour category in Europe.
Oh yeah,
which is good for the athletes to restart, to train, to be motivated, to compete. And then there is a king of the court and queen of the court in the Netherlands with a special format: 5 players from one side, 1 player, the king team, and these 5 rotate, no? And then there is a time involved. It's a completely different format, but still will happen in Utrecht in September. Right. Which with a special stadium, like imagine sky boxes only, not bleachers open. Just
I have seen the pictures of that.
Okay, very good, exactly.
Oh, yeah, yes, I understand that. And well, it's important to be in action again. Avp has started yesterday their 3-weekend tour, so there are different initiatives, right, to restart Absolutely. Again.
Because until we don't find a vaccine or a medicament, we need still to go on. The show must go on, but with certain circumstances, because our athletes, our officials, spectators must have priority for the safety. This is very important. We should not compromise there. So we should study what is the best way to continue with very low risk for infected people, to pass this virus to others. So we need to be very conscious that if we restart, we have to be prudent, very prudent. Otherwise, the virus can come back, can create a disaster to the sport, to the economy, to the image of a country even.
Yes, I know very well. Angelo, we will continue with the pictures if you agree.
Go ahead, please.
This one is from young Angelo.
I was just hired by the FIVB, and on the right, there is a Mexican referee, very, very famous.
On the right?
And yes, on the
Mexican?
right. No, Mexican, sorry, Brazilian.
Yes. Right.
I think we were in Rio de Janeiro here. It should have been the World Championship in many years ago, but we were in Rio, in Copacabana for sure.
But Angelo, the first official World Championship was in '93 in Rio?
No. Many people.
The UCLA
was the first. The first was in 1987, and was with a different format. Was 4 against 4. Was men and women together, but was there that was the first one. And then every year in Rio de Janeiro, in Copacabana or Ipanema Beach, there was a World Championship. It became 2 against 2 at a certain point, because we knew 4 against 4 was very similar to volleyball indoor. We didn't want to create a photocopy, of volleyball indoor. We wanted to have our own identity. And we went for 2 against 2. So 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, all was 2 against 2 World Championship in Rio. Was that very, very important appointment during the year.
All right.
In 93, there was the famous moment of showcasing the sport to the IOC members that came, and they were convinced that the sport had all the quality to go ahead. But then in 1997, that we spoke about UCLA, we brought, I have to say I was responsible for that, because when I arrived at the FIVB, I thought, why to keep the World Championship always in the same country? The World Championship has to be a tool, a flagship event to promote the sport in several continents, not only in one country. So I facilitated that the World Championship went to USA. And in 1997 was the first World Championship outside Brazil, And then they started to go in France, in Marseille, in Norway, in Stavanger, and then the other World Championship until the Hamburg event. And in 2021, we had to go to Rome with the World Championship in Foro Italico in the center of Rome, a wonderful facility.
Wonderful venue.
Yeah, where there was already some World Tour events in the last years. But we decided to postpone the World Championship to 2022, always in Rome, because the conditions were not good, to stage a World Championship already next year due to coronavirus.
Yes.
That's one of my preferred ball in my office. I have many, but this is coming from gold medalist Australian Kerry Potterst. She won with Natalie Cook in Australia, in Sydney, the gold medal. And they are, for me, super women because they won not only the gold medal, but how they won in 2-3 years preparation is really a fantastic adventure. And here they are writing that they appreciate the effort, my effort to promote the sport all over the world. And they thank me for the opportunity I offer to them, but I am not the only one. There are many, many, many in this sport, like Miguel, like many others that we mentioned, that contributed to the growth. So I will share this ball with all of them.
Thanks a lot, Angelo. This is she's the other Kerry.
This is a surprise. I didn't expect that. It's a Kerry Walsh, another super woman, in my point of view, mentally, physically. Imagine that she won 3 gold medals and 1 bronze, and she got 3 children, and she still wants to go to Tokyo. And she will be in the history of the sport. She is phenomenal. Really a phenomenal player and a good ambassador for the sport. I wish her to continue even when she will stop to contribute, because she is a smart woman and she can be a leader, in my point of view, easily.
Well, I added some extra pictures, Angelo.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Yeah, this is when I changed my role, that you had a good question, what you are doing, Angelo, in the FIVB, and I changed my skin. I became a sort of ambassador myself, try to convince other countries to organize. And I travel around the world. Maybe I made 3 times the turn of the world, going in many, many countries. And my president, Ari Grassa, wanted me to contact this country to explain the opportunity we could offer organizing a beach volleyball event. And here we are in Doha, in Qatar, during one workshop where there were 5 or 6 Arabic countries that wanted to listen why beach volleyball, why to invest in beach volleyball, and why the FIVB was there in that moment. And this was a nice meeting also, well organized by the Qatar Volleyball Federation. And you see on the right there, this is the president of the federation, but he's leader of all volleyball Arabic countries. There are 23, and it's not only Middle East, it's also the north of Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. He can spread the information. He's an influencer.
I hope they got interest.
There is a lot of interest. I'm now speaking with Egypt for a 4-star event next year. Morocco is interested. Senegal also is interested. Then we had the event in Oman. One of these people is an Oman president that organized a 1-star event in Oman. So there is interest, but obviously it's not easy because volleyball is not strong in these countries, yet. So and then when there is some opportunity, they think about volleyball. But in general, in the world, volleyball is like a magnet, for the leaders, because it's 120 years of history against 30 years of history at international level. So And we try to convince that in certain country, it's better to start with beach volleyball because there are only 2 players, it's more sustainable. Each 50 meters, you can have a hole, open hole, we can say, instead to create a hole that costs a fortune and maybe is not always used. So we are trying to push certain federation to start with beach volleyball instead of volleyball. This is a challenge, but is on the way to make it the change, in the mind of the leaders. And it takes time, it will take time. And it's also good to see that some beach volleyball players are becoming president of federations. So they have now in their DNA in mind beach volleyball and not volleyball. Because volleyball is more expensive. I was a volleyball player, I'm not going against volleyball, but you need the hall, you need 12 players, you need the manager, you need the coach, you need physiotherapists, you need the doctor. To travel a team is very complex, while with 2 players, you can have results in a few years and you can win medals in a few years and you have limited cost. So our philosophy is that we can even help volleyball through beach volleyball in a certain way because volleyball can penetrate in certain countries.
Yeah, and for example, here in Orseca, Cristóbal Marte is very compromised with beach volleyball, and he says to all of the countries, "Hey guys, like the little beaches in the Caribbean, hey, with volleyball, it's impossible. You can get the Olympics.
He's
With beach
very right.
volleyball, you can go." And the example is 4 years ago, Costa Rica in the women's side, they classified to the Olympics, and I think also Vanuatu, right, the Pacific island.
Didn't qualify, but was very close to qualify, Alejandro. Very close. And they beat Brazilian during the World Tour, the American during the World Tour, in a small island in a Pacific Ocean that has only maybe 25,000 inhabitants, So this is the why also we created this new department, why my president wanted me to travel. It is one of the occasions where I try to transfer knowledge, and also listen their problem because they have each area in the world has different circumstances to consider. Like for instance, in Arabic country, when you see a woman playing in beach volleyball, you need to be very careful that they don't expose themselves like in any other countries because it's a question of respect, the custom, religion. So we spoke at length how women can also play in these countries. And we have no problem to change the rules now. We changed the rules when Ari Grassa came at the federation to allow even them to play even with a scarf, even with a long sleeve, long paints, no problem. Women can play as they wish in beach volleyball because we want to also allow them to be involved in the Muslim country also.
I will show you a picture of that you're saying, because it's very interesting. Give me a minute, please.
Sure.
Egypt. I will shift this and share.
This is Rio de Janeiro, 2016, and Egypt qualify through the Continental Cup that is separate from the Olympic points path. There is an event that goes on in all continent and they qualify from Africa. And they were allowed to play, as you see, as they wish. There was no limitation. This went also on many newspapers in the United States in the cover, because people in their mind had the idea that beach volleyball was associated to bikini, and somebody imposed bikini. No, never. Even in Atlanta, I have to say, certain journalists manipulated, certain rules. And in Atlanta, women could play with one piece or two pieces. We're not obliged to play in bikini. But certain journalists like, to create scandals. So they started to play the role of feminist while we were with the women. I have to say, let me allow this. when I worked for the FIVB, the first thing I did, because I saw many men event, men. I mean, where were the women? So I started to say that if you were organizing a men event, you had to do also the women. And the prize money was completely different in the beginning. Then I started to say, no, the prize money must be equal. Otherwise, women, they will never have an opportunity to grow like the men. And the number of events also had to be the same. The participants in the Olympics in each FIVB events had to be the same. Prize money had to be the same. And in the beginning, the men protested. I remember they wrote to me a petition to say, we are making beach volleyball better, not women. And I asked them, why you say this? Because if you don't give never opportunity to the women to grow, they will never grow, giving equal opportunity. So we took a step very strong, and now the women, I have to say, the game, in my point of view, this is my personal point of view, the game is even more spectacular because there are more defense, more rally, longer rally now than men. It's like in tennis. In tennis, you see the power, boom, boom, service, and for the men and the women are more tactics, no? It's the same. And also the audiences are sometimes much higher for the women than men. So this demonstrated that our policy to go for equality was a good policy.
This picture, Angelo, went viral 4 years ago.
You are right.
It became very famous because it was like the clashes of two worlds, two different worlds, right? Two different visions.
Absolutely. And we are very proud to see this diversity, because diversity means also enrich the world, with more culture, more races, more religion, not having any obstacle, no. Like the sport must be. The sport must join effort between people and not creating walls. So we are very proud.
Don't tell me about walls, please.
Yeah, and he wanted the Mexican to pay for it.
That's why he says.
Yeah, let's not speak about politics today, but we understand each other.
You know, Angelo, that there's an annual. It's not a competition. It's like a friendly thing that people in the both sides of the fence in California, they play volleyball. Have you ever heard about that?
No. I heard something, but I never saw the picture.
No, but it's for real. It's for real. It's one day of a year.
So they play between fences to play with the neighbors and create a social event.
Yes, of course.
Wonderful.
Yes.
There was a period 6 years ago that we pushed for a new discipline, practically volleyball for all. And we thought that you can play even at 3-4 years old, or old people on the chair, people paying in pension, that they cannot move, they can touch still a ball. Or children, the first thing you do, if you give a balloon, not a ball, a balloon inflated with your hair, the first thing they do is to pass the ball perfectly to each other, or touch the ball to keep the ball in the air. So we started to think how to have bigger audiences in the world. And this is, this is the wall, by the way. Yeah?
It's some part of the wall in California. And sometimes people in the both sides say, hey, let's go play some volleyball.
There should be the way to go through after the match,
Yeah.
To hug each other and say we are part of the same humanity, mankind. That's I don't like any walls. And the walls, in Berlin went down, many other walls went down. We should not create other walls in the world. Absolutely. I hate walls, frankly speaking. This is my opinion. And sport is everything but walls. So I love sport for this reason, because put people together in the court, you need to follow the rules. A referee like Miguel make you respecting this rule, and you have to be the best with your strength, not with the strength of somebody recommending you or pushing you, you are alone there. You are alone with your team, and you need to win the match. And it's a wonderful idea, to create. And then at the end, you shake hands. At the end, you are friend. For instance, in volleyball indoor, sometimes I remember some coaches wanted to be in the different hotel from the opponents. No, we cannot stay. We cannot be together. In beach volleyball, I love the fact that all the players wants to be in the same hotel. The family of this player wants to be together. They share everything, food, they share video, they share all the experience in the day, the restaurant. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see this community moving around the world, be very strong, and showing what is humanity, what must be done. And I saw many episodes in my life. I want to remember one, if you allow me.
Yes, of course.
Alisson, the Brazilian, was in Berlin for a world championship, 2005. I don't remember, but it's not so important. It was a stadium, 10,000 people full. The opponents, an American, got injury, and then nobody was taking care. There was no doctor at the time. I don't know was the doctor. No physiotherapist coming. This guy was suffering, was crying. This American. Alisson went on the other side of the court, took the guy in his arm. Was a big guy, He took it and he transported him outside the venue where there was the ambulance. It was amazing, amazing. This was one thing I never forget, even the last day of my life. So that means that he was taking care of the opponents, while in football, this never happened. If somebody is injured, the opponents, they don't care. They go there maybe to see, and then some other things. I saw another episode was in Beijing. In Beijing 2008, during the Olympics, there was the war between Russia and Georgia. At the end of that match, there were 200 journalists now because they wanted to see the fight between these two teams. They were playing women team, Georgia, Russia, during the Olympics. Then the players ended the match hugging each other, kissing each other, against all the expectation of fighting because there was the war. They were killing each other, in Georgia because Russia invaded. And the players went against all politics, and they started to be friends.
Guess who was the referee for that game?
Miguelito.
This guy.
Miguelito. Look at this. It's concentrated. It's very much concentrated. This is in Beijing, yes, 2008. Fantastic.
Yeah, but he when he was here, he explained us that game, Russia versus Georgia.
Correct. He can say what happened. I don't know if he can connect now here today, but
Miguel.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's viewing. I will ask her. I will invite him.
He speaks very well English.
Yeah. But this is great. This is the picture you were talking about,
right?
About the power of the sport. And one thing I want to tell you, Angelo, is that one thing I have discovered in these 76 talks is that we, as the volleyball community, we are very close. We are smaller than we think, but we are very solidary. When I ask you to come here, you tell me yes, okay, let's put it in the agenda. The same with Randy, with Sinjin, with Mireya Luis, with Cecilia Tait, with Hugo Conte, a lot of stars. And compared to football, to soccer, how difficult can be for me to have here, I don't know, Sepp Blatter or Gianni Infantino or Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. It will be impossible,
I understand you. I understand. And this is the beauty of this sport, because it's very social and respectful for the next person. And my life, my career, I had many champions that like Ronaldo, no, we can say, or like Maradona, they were very humble in volleyball. They were teaching the young people like me, like putting all their knowledge on the young people. It doesn't happen in other sport. And this I love about the volleyball, because it's a fair sport, and also it's a sport where, again, men and women can play equally, no problem. There is no discrimination, and also you can play in any part of the world. The other day I was speaking with a guy that is doing donation in Tibet, in Himalaya. He's a Sherpa. He's the guy that goes up in the mountains with the tourists. And they say they play volleyball in the Himalaya. So you can play all over. They play even with the less oxygen, because when you play no volleyball, for instance, you play 3,000 meters, there is less oxygen. They want to play volleyball, and the people, the locals. And volleyball is very strong in Nepal, to say, but it can be strong in a small island, in Cook Island, in Vanuatu. It can be very strong in a big country like Brazil with 200 million people, or in Mexico, or United States. So it's very flexible, and everybody can play. Everybody can enjoy. So sometimes even myself, 63 years old, when I see playing here in Switzerland beach volleyball, the first thing I want to join the young people to play, They don't know me, and they think, who is this old guy that wants to play, And then I enjoy, even if they don't know who is my name, what I did before, who I am. And they always welcome, the other people. So it's nice.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the beauty of our sport. It was invented to as a family sport,
Exactly.
125 years ago.
In YMCA, you're right.
In Massachusetts.
With Morgan. Exactly. Family sport. And then became now this sport with lots of enthusiasm and acrobatic elements, techniques, tactics. It's a very sophisticated sport now.
Yes. Well, I have sent the Zoom link to Miguel so he can join us, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
So right now, we will continue with the pictures.
These are two IOC members. This is Prince Albert II on the left, and on the right, a very iconic player, Bernard Reisman, called Bernard in Brazil. Was not so tall, you see, no? But This guy, I play against him. Believe me, it was nearly impossible to block him. Had so many finesse, like Sinjin in beach volleyball. He was perfect in defense, in reception, in attack. He invented the service called now I have a lapsus, but it was a sky ball going in the sky. La giornata dell'estrella in Portuguese, where the ball was nearly disappearing in the sky. So I went, and then was going down. It was a service that would put in difficulty a lot of opponents. So these two guys are very, very, very supportive for beach volleyball, I have to say, and snow volleyball also.
Guess who's here?
Voila, Miguel.
Hello, my dear Angelo.
Miguel,
good to see you.
Well, it's wonderful to see you again. And
me too.
Hey, Angelo, this guy is my buddy.
It's the buddy of many people, because he's a very, very charming person, very friendly, very professional. Miguel, you are beach volleyball. You are not an official. You are beach volleyball.
Yes, Angelo. I very happy. But I retired now, but I now working in the referee supervisor in Norseca, some tournament to the FIVB, the referee delegate. But for me, I'm very happy for the beach volleyball and for see you.
Thank you, and the same for me, Miguel.
Yes, remember this match in Beijing, Russia and Georgia. I asked to the player to take a big hot bit hot after to the match, after to the coin toss again to please shake the hands, please. For me, wonderful, historic match for me in my life.
Absolutely. Like also another episode in the Olympics that was astonishing me was when we went in Sydney 2000, that North Korea and South Korea was marching together in the opening ceremony. And I think they did also in Rio de Janeiro in 2016 or in London. I don't remember, but it happened again. And this is very, very good. And,
Yes,
they did also for the Winter Olympics in South Korea.
Yeah. I remember when they start to the beach volleyball, to the refereeing, I remember you go to the other country or the tournament by promoters. Remember it's a World Series, and after to the FIVB take the tour and World Tour, change the name, but wonderful. I start in the start to the beach volleyball and in the world.
Yeah, we started from the beginning, we can say, because at international level, there was very few events and we had to build a calendar, athletes. We had to practically start from scratch at international level. It was very nice. Yeah. Also, we did an handbook. You did the rules of the game with Bob Clark, I remember at the time, no? And there was no rules because the rules were changing country by country. So we did the booklet. Everybody had to abide to the rules of the game and also to a handbook if they wanted to organize events to follow good requirements, quality requirements, a good standard for the athletes especially. So it was a good adventure. Still is happening. And now speaking about, because Alejandro was speaking about snow volleyball, 2 years ago, we started to think that wherever there is a space, we need to put a court, even on the snow, why not? And many locations in the mountain are looking forward to create more opportunity to play the sport, because you cannot ski the entire day. You must be a Superman not to ski the entire day. So we thought to introduce snow volleyball. It's going pretty well. Unfortunately, we had to cancel events this year. But we think also snow volleyball can have a good success in the future and maybe go in the Olympics for winter. And we will be the only federation to have sport in the Olympic winter, Olympic summer. That will be a great achievement.
Angelo, but it's a fact or is still studying?
No, we have rules. We have requirements. We have events that happen in Argentina, in Austria, in Italy, and in Europe. Europe is pretty evolved, I have to say, it's the volleyball. So it's a fact. But to say that we have a big event or national team dedicated, I cannot say. We are in the like beach volleyball in the very beginning. There was a transition from volleyball player to beach, no? And here is beach transition to snow. Some beach player, because during winter they have no events to play, they want to go on the mountain to play. But the prize money is very small, the events are small. We are just in the beginning, but they are happening. They have television, they have streaming, spectators, entertainment, like any other event, but in a minor scale.
But do you think we will have a snow volleyball in the next Winter Olympics?
No. Beijing is too close. 2000 no, this is not will not happen in Beijing for the Olympics, and we are thinking that this can happen maybe in the following Olympic Games.
All right.
But it will take time to build all the country interest, all the teams, national team interest. But our idea is to go out of the box. Instead to think about only country with mountains, we are thinking to involve also country that they have no mountains. For instance, in Brazil, Juliana went in Argentina to play the snow volleyball event. She won with her team. It's played 3 against 3 on the snow. It's not 2 against 2. She won. Brazil, without mountains, without snow, won a tournament. Cameroon from Africa got 5th, beating Italy, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. I mean, so we are trying to think that thanks to snow volleyball, the Winter Olympics can enlarge the spectrum of the countries participating.
Great.
Like was the bob. Remember the bob for Jamaica?
Yes, yes.
The movie, no, also. I mean, it's the same thing. Why they cannot do it, even if they don't have a bob circuit or facility, like many other in the world, they can still compete and go in certain country to practice. So that's our idea.
For example, Germany has no beaches or not touristic beaches, and they are world Olympic champions in beach
Correct. Like
volleyball.
Switzerland. Switzerland got a bronze medal in Athens for a man, but they don't have beach, and the weather is not so good here. I mean, where I live, but still they have a strong, even now, women team with Anouk. I mean, it's they are powerful, and because they have a program behind, and they have many courts. This is a very important thing, to build up courts for recreational purpose, but also to train with the professional or semi-professional. Why California? Why the American were so strong, or Brazilian? Because they on facilities all over, and it's not expensive. It's just the next two poles. Tell me, maybe it can cost $300, $400 a court, and you can train a team that can compete at world level.
Yes,
so
of course.
That's the point. And with no volleyball, we want to do something, but it will take time. I mean, it will take a lot of time. Now,
Angelo, I will show some pictures that Miguel sent me.
Absolutely. Here we are in Lausanne. I see the boardroom. Maybe it was a council or commission for beach volleyball, and Miguel took part with the referee commission, and sometimes the commission are overlapping, you know, beach and referee, etc. So we could meet.
Yes, wonderful.
When was that, Miguel? In which year?
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe 4 years ago. Maybe, I don't know, but
okay.
Here, I think we are in Zocalo during a fair with the son of Miguel and then myself, and then we went to see an event with thousands and thousands of people. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was the Foreign Cultures Fair in Mexico. You are in front of the Italy stand.
Yeah, I see. Maybe there was some pizza and pasta there distributed.
Natchez. Oh.
Yeah, with the president, Miguel, and
Jesus Perales.
Yes. Jesus, yes.
The next pictures is very funny.
I see a lot of food there. Eh?
Miguel is a good eater.
I think we are two Miguels. I will not leave alone.
Next picture, Alex, please, to the...
Hey, what's this, Angelo?
Look, Angelo.
This is... Miguel told me, you need to do this, and I follow, and she was like a witch, you know, a person putting smoke on me to eliminate all the bad spirit. And I followed the example Miguel told me to do, and I did it.
And did she eliminate it?
Many people use the traditional in Mexico for the spirit. It's a nice.
You know, I'm still alive, Alejandro, so it worked well. I mean, until we enjoy life, bad or good experience is life, and I am happy to live. So maybe it worked well. There's a lot of smoke.
A lot.
A lot of smoke, and she did a good job. I'm still here. And Miguel also.
Nice pictures, Miguel.
Yes. I remember your visit when you visit to Mexico. Wonderful.
Miguel took care about me every day. It was interesting.
Yes, I am the bodyguard. The bodyguard. Maybe no, but the bodyguard is maybe Angelo.
You have the face of a bodyguard, Miguel.
I know. Yes, sir.
Okay, great to have you here, Miguel. Nice to say hello to you. You are a very important part of development of Mexican beach volleyball, and I really appreciate to be your friend.
Ciao,
Yes,
Miguel.
thank
Thank you
you.
for everything and what you have done for the sport. It's amazing.
Yes, maybe see you again another competition or another tournament. Maybe. I'm
Maybe.
sure.
Speriamo. Speriamo.
Good to see you.
Okay,
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.
bye, Miguel.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Oh, wait. Let me show another picture, Miguel. No, don't go. Please don't go.
What?
Please don't go. Just
You have
one
an
more picture.
archive there.
Just
No,
one more
please come on.
picture.
I remember what the picture.
Oh, yes, no problem.
In London, maybe.
Yes, in London. Where is that picture?
Sorry, Angelo, for my friend Alejandro. Is a very crazy person, but he's my friend. Sorry.
Here is it.
Oh, come on.
Please, Angela, tell me who is the real and who is the copy.
Let's see.
In London.
It's not easy to respond.
Oh, I think, Angelo, that Miguel can make the Olympics next year working for Nintendo. I'm pretty sure of that.
London was, for me, one of the best Olympics for beach
Yeah.
ever. I don't know, Miguel, what you think.
Absolutely.
We went
Okay,
to the
Angelo.
country. Yeah. Well, we went in a country where the volleyball was very poor. And we were afraid that we had the empty stadium, no interest. But volleyball at the end and beach volleyball were again in the heat parade. Beach
Okay,
volleyball
Angelo.
was packed.
Thank you very much, Angelo.
Ciao.
See you again. See you, Alex.
Ciao.
Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Ciao.
Alessandro, you leave me having dinner, I hope.
It's a time for the dinner.
I have a family meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Angelo, okay. Well, so it's time.
If you don't have any other question, I'm fine, and then we can.
I have tons of questions. No, let's go with the final pictures. 5 more minutes. Wait a minute, please, Angelo. Well, we've just talked a little about snow volleyball, who is the next big project. Right.
Here was during the Winter Olympic Games in Korea, in South Korea.
Pyeongchang.
We went for an exhibition for snow volleyball, and we invited big players, famous
like
players. Jiba, exactly. Gerbich. Also some beach volleyball players, and you see media were there. We played just one match in front of the Austrian house, and that day the women slalom was canceled because too much wind, and the media came to us. So we had, I saw more media than spectators. It was amazing, this exhibition. And we try also to play 3 against 3 because 2 years ago the sport was played 2 against 2. But again, we didn't want to make a photocopy of the existing beach volleyball. And was very successful. 3 against 3 on the snow is a perfect combination. Here, the other picture is in Italy. Unfortunately, the weather is very, very unpredictable when you are in a mountain. I learned this lesson. Never say you can finish an event. So one day we had snow like never I saw in my life. And the snow was 1 meter over the surface of the court. Oh. the net frozen, became heavy. You cannot put tension on the net. But what was amazing, the players started to help to get rid of the snow, spectators helped, and then we can continue to play the tournament until the end. But obviously with a different format. This is snow volleyball in Austria. Austria is a little bit like Rio de Janeiro for beach volleyball. The promoter in Austria invented the sport 10 years ago. And then he continued to organize events. And now he, as a company, organizing events on our behalf. He's helping the International Volleyball Federation. He's a good promoter, very good. In Austria, you see an African team playing snow volleyball, and people can say, why African team? So, like I was saying before, we want to show that the sport can be played regardless if you have mountains and snow. And they did very well, I have to say. These three guys there, they beat country, very evolved, also snow volleyball.
Angelo, which more new events or new projects do you think can come for FIVB in the next few years? Nothing confidential, of course.
No. One project is to create some big event for beach volleyball, where the FIVB also become a promoter. Like we have a local promoter, but also the FIVB intervene financially and operationally. Create 8 events to create a strong calendar and a stable calendar, because sometimes the calendar, has cancellation or changing of the date of events. So this is our idea from 2022 onwards, to create a tour with 8 major events, very organized, very high level, with the involvement of the FIVB directly. And then also to see if we can really have snow volleyball in the Olympics. This is another project, but it takes time. In beach took time. Also snow volleyball we need to be prepared to show that this sport can bring something in the Olympics. But we think can bring some fresh ideas even to the Winter Olympics that have always the same country participating. So we think snow volleyball can be also a good project for the future. Another project for sure is to go for digital. Digital, have audiences like we are doing today, here, to expand this idea with athletes, with coaches, with the matches we have, and have more people enjoying specialized property, that they want really to enjoy. This, and I think the future is social media, internet, and we saw also during COVID-19 how we could still work, we could still produce in spite of the problem we had with 3-4 months locked down in our houses, etc., in our apartment. So internet, in my point of view, will be the future also for the sport, and I think this will be the area to exploit in the future for sure.
All right. Well, Angelo, it was a pleasure to have you here in the webcast. Thank you very much. You are a big personality in world volleyball, and I'm very glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Can you send?
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me. Continue to see this program because it's great. It's a good idea, and 75 interviews. I will see the next one. I promise. I didn't know about it in the past, but I will see the next Alejandro. I will follow you.
On Tuesday, we will have Casey Patterson. Wednesday, Dane Blanton. Thursday, Friday is Daniel Scott. And on Thursday is Jeremy Ruche, DJ Ruche. Okay? All of them, except for Daniel Scott, very involved in beach volleyball. Casey Patterson, Dane Blanton, and Jeremy Ruche.
Big personalities for sure.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Angelo.
Ciao, everybody. It was a pleasure. Adios.
Thanks a lot. Adios, Angelo.
Bye. Thank you.